I'm so excited to be here with my friend Yael Kabili from Fortunate and eKabili Law. And Yael is such an expert at so many things, but today we're going to be talking about common legal mistakes that all of us are probably making. Is that fair to say, Yael?
Yeah. Even advanced sellers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like no matter how much our businesses grow, it never fails. We make some of the same mistakes and we don't even know. We're just like, well, that's the way I've always done it. So, or I heard that from this person or that person. So excited to get kind of a behind the scenes look at what you guys as lawyers that help Amazon sellers every day deal with all of the ins and outs of working with Amazon. What you deal with and how we can avoid having to pay you big dollars to help us deal with it.
Exactly.
So before we get into it, everyone, I just want to say hello. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today. Let me know, reveal to us all of the legal mistakes that you have made or the legal questions that you have during this session. We're happy to answer them. And before we get into it, Yael, will you just tell everybody a little bit about you and how you ended up here?
Sure. So I'm here because I'm your friend, first of all. But so I'm originally a trademark lawyer. I started working with sellers in beginning 2016 and end of 15. And I saw that there were no lawyers in the Amazon space, or almost no lawyers at that time. And so, Amazon was doing whatever they want, and sellers were suspended, and nobody was protecting their brand. So I started the law firm back then. Today, we're a team of 15 people at the law firm, really focusing on Amazon and e-commerce in general. Started, handling Walmart suspensions this year, and Etsy, of course, eBay. But that's kind of the focus of the firm, mostly intellectual property and suspensions and M&A, of course. Besides, I think we've worked with about 6,000 sellers or a little more over the years. So that's kind of the focus of the firm. I have my second hat, I would say, is that I founded with two other partners. I founded Fortunate, which is an investment banking firm that helps sellers with the fun part, with the exiting. So legal part, and then the happy end. We kind of cover the whole thing, or at least part of it. So yeah, that's kind of the background.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think it's so great for people to know that not only are you helping out with things on Amazon, but overall, you guys are really handling e-com. So now you're helping with Walmart stuff. I know there's been some crazy like Walmart suspensions lately because of a lot of like the drop shipping stuff and all of that that's been going on. So I've asked a question to the audience. What are your e-com legal frustrations? I would love to know, everyone. What are you feeling out there? What have you dealt with? I know for us, the biggest legal frustrations have been like one time we launched a product that we got taken down because of a design patent. And it was just like, there was really nothing we could do. So we ended up just like liquidating it and selling it locally to local gyms. And then just little things like, dealing with other people infringing your trademark and your content and stuff like that. It's just like, geez, how do you ignore it? Do you just move on? I know I see people posting in groups all the time, like someone is selling my product on Amazon Canada or Amazon Mexico, and they're using all my photos, or they're selling my product on Alibaba. And, I've had that happen. I had a supplier post pictures of a product that I was on contract with them with on Alibaba, and they immediately took it down. But yeah, either way, like
you had everything a seller could have. But many sellers pass from this to that. So you had you had kind of the design patent suspension that you were describing, but then you're a patent owner, which is something that we do see. We see sellers getting suspended, and then they understand the importance and what what you can do with a design patent. So they change the product, and then they become patent owners themselves, and then they go after people. So that's kind of your situation as well.
It's very smart. Copyrights are also very smart to do. There's so many legal protections that we can have. And so we can't, sometimes we don't always have to be the victim. We can, we can be the perpetrator, and that works out in our favor. So
Exactly.
awesome. Well, shall we get into it?
Sure. Let's go.
All right. And let me just share my screen here. And I'm going to move you to the top and take it away.
All right. So I already presented myself, so you can skip to the next ones. That's kind of my background. I want to jump into the first and probably one of the most common mistakes that we see for especially for private label sellers. When you choose a name, for your product. Most sellers do run like a quick search on the USPTO, and then they continue and they manufacture. And then once they have the listing up and running and selling, then they want to go for a trademark. But then what happens if they didn't run the search correctly? So, when you do a search, when you run a search on the USPTO, or when we run a search as lawyers, we don't look only for the name itself. Like if your brand, for example, is brandy, okay, and you sell a bottle, then I would search for brandy, but I would also search for anything starting with brand. And if your brandy is with Y, I will obviously look at brandy with I and two E's, because that's called confusingly similar. What does it mean? It means that in the scenario that you ran a search and you didn't do it, like you should, and you missed the brandy with a Y because you had an I and you didn't think of, searching with the Y, and the guy does the exact same thing, it means that you will not be able to get a trademark. And by now we know what it means not to have a trademark. And until recently, what we would do with clients who came with a trademark that we can't register, we would run a search, and then when we tell them, listen, there's a problem with the name, please change it on the listing, and then we'll go and file your new name, and we ran the search together, etc. But now it's not possible. About a year ago, maybe a year and a half already, Amazon changed the rules. You're not supposed to change the brand on the listing. Okay, that's just not allowed. If you go on the terms of service, it clearly said, do not change the name. If you rebrand, please open a new listing, and you kind of lose all the reviews that you already have and everything. So what does it mean? It means that what you really need to do is to do a proper search before you manufacture. Because if you don't, then you end up, stuck with products with a certain name and a certain listing that you already launched it, so you have a few reviews and you cannot use it. You have to open a new one and rebrand everything. So what we really recommend is before everything, before you choose a name, just, at that point, before you manufacture, go to your lawyer, and ask your lawyer, or even yourself, if you know how to run it. But the best would be to go to your lawyer. Most lawyers don't even charge for it. I mean, they charge and then they retract it. No, I don't know if most lawyers, but many lawyers retract it from the registration fee. So for example, you pay a certain, amount for the registration. It already includes the search. So if you do it in advance, you'd pay a certain amount, let's say, I don't know, $200, $250, and then they retract it later from the registration fee. So that's really recommended. You really have nothing to lose to let your lawyer run the search in advance, and then you can register later. You can wait a month, you can wait 2 months. Usually people won't hijack the name in 2 months. It's quite rare, and then apply for it later when you're ready. So that's kind of yeah.
Uh, and I've learned that the hard way. I've had to fight every trademark that I've gotten. I'm sure you guys out there have had also to do this. But one of the big things that that I noticed the other day, I was actually, and you said, you know, call your lawyer. I was on a coaching call the other day, and this client has to abandon his current trademark because he's going into a new category, and the new category that he's going into, the current trademark that he has is too similar to an existing category. So that's another thing people don't think about. But he decided, so let's say that the brand name was Vester, right? Or was Vester, right? And of this competitor in this new category. Well, his idea was to take his existing brand name and add an OR to the end of it. So it would be Vester or. But I told him, I said, no, that's confusingly similar.
Exactly.
This lead word in there is the same. So it's like, you know, wait, isn't it that Vester company? You know,
exactly. If I was Nike, that's the best way to say it. If you're Nike and I open Nike, or wouldn't you think it's related to Nike? You would think so, right? Because the main thing there is Nike. That's kind of
the thing was, he called the trademark attorney, which this was a popular trademark attorney in this industry. And I was like, and this person told him, well, you have to fight. It's fine. It's not the same. And you have to fight just about every trademark anyway. And I was like, no, I was like, that's a hard argument for any attorney to make, that those are not confusingly similar. So I told him, I was like, nope, we're picking a new name. Like, I don't care what that trademark person told you. Like, experience tells me that's not going to get approved.
Confusingly, you're absolutely right. It's confusingly similar when it's, you know, the category, if it's the same category, the same product, and the name is almost the same, there's just a small difference, it is confusingly similar. You start asking yourself questions when it's a different category but related. Let's think of clothing versus I don't know, something for the hair, okay, and then the name is similar. Is it confusingly similar or not? Because it's a different category, different number of category, but then it's sold in the same places, right? It can be on the same shelves in the same store, so it can be confusingly similar. We had a case with a suitcase, and then clothing. In, you know, these are completely different categories, and the name was the same. We thought it was, you know, it's not that confusingly similar. It's a different product, completely different product. But then the examiner thought, you know, suitcases and clothing, they can be sold in the same place, so that, you know, that can be confusing, and he rejected it. So that's why those searches aren't easy. You can try and do it yourself. But if it doesn't cost you more, then I would just run it by a trademark, a good trademark attorney that knows about Amazon, knows about brand registry.
Got it. All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
What you see here, by the way, what you see here is an example of a search you can run yourself. So if we're talking about Blendy and you insist on doing it yourself, I would, you know, try and see Blendy with I, Blendy with Y, Blendy with, you know, Blendy, anything similar, so that you don't miss, you know, if you're Blendy with a Y, you can't miss the one with an I, because that's complete, and that's easy to search.
Now, if I search for blend, would it show me all the versions of blend?
Not on that easy, on that simple form. But if you use the more advanced form and you do blend with like an asterisk, then with a star, then that would help. But you need to know how to run the search. Some sellers learn. They spend hours on YouTube and see lawyers and try to learn it. I think they should focus on selling on Amazon.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you can only do so much DIY, but that is growth as a business owner, going from self-employed to business owner.
Yeah.
That's sometimes tough for people, but it is a core skill to learn.
Yeah. But you know, the success rate, if we're talking about trademarks, the success rate of trademarks, if you do it yourself, is about 60%. Quite high, right? But there's like 40% that you miss it. If you run a good search and and you use a good lure, you should get to like 90, 95, 96%. So I think, thinking of what can happen if you don't have the trademark, and the headache that you have for rebranding then, and then opening a new listing, or trying to convince Amazon to change the brand anyway, although it's not allowed and it's against the terms of service. It's just, just do it properly.
Yes, exactly. So,
So
filing
that's
a complaint against
yeah,
yourself, how do we do
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. So that's you all heard of situation, and you actually described one earlier where you had people using your photo on one of your images on Alibaba, right? These are things you can learn, and advanced sellers usually start playing with the brand registry and start filing complaints, and they learn about it, and they should. But if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. I think I didn't see many sellers who didn't have that mistakes, where you use the brand registry, so you have a hijacker on your listing, okay, and then you file. So here on the screen that we have here, I typed the ASIN number. So I put my the ASIN number that you have here, because I had the hijacker on my Chanel listing. Okay, let's say I'm Chanel. So I type the ASIN, and then it goes to it goes down. And then if you go to the next slide, then you can see what happens. So on the right side, you see it says specific sellers. If you do not choose these specific sellers on the right side, what happens is that you'll remove the entire, everyone on this listing,
Oh
which
no,
includes yourself. So what you have
including
to do,
yourself.
right, exactly. And when you remove yourself, it's just horrible. You get an email saying this person filed a complaint against you, and so we removed the listing. And then you see your own email there as the complainant. And then you go back to Amazon, hey, I want to retract the complaint. And then you don't hear from them for like 3-4 days, and you're down. You don't have any sales. So that's pretty horrible. It happened to dozens of clients of the firm, and that's why we started doing like trainings of like how to file these complaints. But let me show you here, because if you see that, you'll remember it, and you won't do this mistake. So you've put the ACE in there, right? And now you see it on the bottom, and then you see on the right side it says specific sellers, and now you can tick those that you want to remove. So let's say that you are I don't know, modern technologies. So I would tick like Astoria and LT Best Tech and all the rest, except for modern technology. And then I do next, and I file the complaint. So that's something that we've seen a lot, and there's even sometimes there's a bug with Amazon's brand registry, where you actually don't have the choice of choosing specific sellers. They just allow you to have one, and that's it. If that's the case, don't file a complaint. Like, get out of Amazon's brand registry. I can send you another link to file the complaint from it, and then and file the complaint from there. If there's this bug, don't file it anyway. File it only if you see specific sellers. So everything I said now was about hijackers. Okay, so you have your listing, you know what hijackers are. You have your listing, and then there's somebody jumping on your listing to try and sell your product. By the way, did it happen to you? Because you have like a very special product. Probably you don't have many hijackers there, right?
Yeah, I don't use FN SKUs. I use manufacturer barcodes on all of my products.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's because I have very good contracts with my suppliers,
Yeah.
and I have not had any
Yeah.
hijacker problems at all.
Yeah. But
I
it's
do
also
have
that you have a
problems with,
unique product. When you
yeah,
have like a more generic product, that that can happen.
yeah, and I do have problems with like people like cloning my product on other websites and like
Right.
drop shipping. That's like my biggest problem. But I just got tired of playing whack-a-mole, so I just let it
Yeah.
go.
But for the drop shippers, it's not so bad because at the end they buy it from you and you actually profit from from those sales. So it's not
Yeah.
amazing, but it's
The,
not like a hijacker who actually steals your income.
the
They sell,
only
yeah.
problem is though that most of the time the drop shippers are selling your product for way over retail, and if customers aren't smart
Mm,
enough to shop around, they take it out on the brand.
right.
And so
Yeah.
now you're getting messages of, I paid $70 for this product and it's crap. And it's just like we have one picture on one of our reviews with the product broken, and
Yeah.
it looks like it came in a box that isn't even ours. And it's not even a verified review. It's
Yeah.
like not even a verified purchase review, and it looks terrible. It looks like we ship inferior products, which we have an inner box, an outer box. Everything in the picture shows the
Right.
box like smashed, just the outer box, which isn't even our box, and the product is broken. And that we got a 1-star review for. So now we're gonna have to reach out to Amazon and say,
Yeah.
hey, this is not a verified purchase. This
Yeah.
isn't even our product. Like it doesn't come in our packaging. So clearly this must have been a drop shipper or
Yeah.
something, and hope they will remove the review.
Yeah. And still like hijackers can be much more difficult because I have just to give you an example, like we had a client during it was I think it was Black Friday. And like right at the peak of the sales, somebody jumped on their listing and they sold counterfeit products, like completely counterfeit products, something really, really bad quality. They lost all the sales on that day. They tried to file complaint, but they obviously didn't know how to do it. And so they lost all the sales. And then they got about 20-25 bad reviews, and the reviews, Amazon wouldn't let them remove them. We really had to fight hard. We eventually succeeded, but Amazon says that's reviews are there for the product, not
But
for
that's
you.
not the product.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
what can you
So,
do? It's so
right.
disconnected. Like,
Yeah.
what can you do? Like, besides just relisting the product and starting over and getting all your
Yeah.
reviews again.
No, we fought it and we managed, but that was a very difficult process. It took us about a month. So a month was, yeah, there was a month with like bad sales. So they didn't want to pursue, really a lawsuit, but that's kind of a case where it can they could actually succeed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, so what I showed here is an example of problems with filing a complaint against a hijacker. I'm just noting that some sellers can also file, they want to remove someone, so they do it with the images because they think, oh, if this guy jumped on my listing and he's a hijacker, he's actually using my photos, so let's file a copyright complaint. I'll talk about it now. And then Amazon would remove, because the image applies to all the people using it, then Amazon removes the image. So don't do that. If there's a hijacker, use the trademark complaint, not the copyright complaint, because the photo applies to everyone using it. So Amazon just removes the photo.
So Amazon will remove your photo even though you're the copyright owner?
Yes, because that's not the way to remove a hijacker. A copyright complaint is something that you use for other people, for people using your photos on another listing. So, for example, if I steal your the photo of your product and I use it on Alibaba, then you can file a copyright complaint. You don't need a registration. You don't need anything. You just file a complaint. You show that the image was yours, and then Amy, you just show like maybe a link to your listing or a link to your website showing that this is actually yours, and they would remove it. It's people don't know it. Actually, on our website, I can maybe share later the link. I actually explain like super easy how to file a copyright complaint with very, very easy. It takes, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, and then you can remove the images that somebody's using. Images.
Okay, so we always want to choose the trademark when we're doing it through brand registry And then we file a copyright complaint in another way so that we don't get our own photos taken down off of Amazon.
Yeah, so if it depends on the situation. If you have a hijacker, use a trademark complaint, whether through the brand registry, whether through the other complaint form. But if you're removing a hijacker, always use the trademark complaint. The copyright complaint is for removing text and photos and graphic designs on another listing, like somebody else, a competitor, for example, stealing your photos. Use a copyright complaint because you want it removed from the listing, right? You want Amazon to remove the photo. When you file a copyright complaint, Amazon will remove the photo. So don't do it against your own listing. That's kind of the.
But what if they steal the images from your listing?
Then they use it on their listing, right? They steal it and then they use it somewhere. This is where you file. That's what you attack. If I stole your photo and I used it on my listing, selling even something else, then when you file a complaint, you file against my listing. It's a separate listing, and you actually want Amazon to remove my photo, right? You want Amazon to remove it because it's yours. If you file it on your listing because you're trying to remove hijackers sitting on your listing, that will remove your photo, okay, from your listing. Because hijackers are on yours, that's the problem. So that's kind of the separation.
Got it. So if you have a hijacker, use the trademark complaint. If you have someone using your photos on their listing, file a copyright complaint against them. Yes.
Bottom line, never use a copyright complaint against using your listing. Never do it. That will remove your photo, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's confusing. So let's talk about, go back just the previous one to finish the copyright thing. So copyrights are, I was giving an example now, but copyrights are, they protect graphic designs, they protect photos, and they protect text. So what started happening this year is that Amazon sometimes removes an entire listing just because you used one sentence of your competitor. And that wasn't the case in the past. So if I, for example, I become a competitor of Amy's product, okay? And you know how I do it, like I kind of get inspiration from your product, I change it, and then I use, one sentence that I really liked on yours, and then I would use another sentence from another competitor, and I kind of compile it and change it a bit. If there's a full sentence, you could actually file a copyright complaint and remove my entire listing. And that's kind of scary. We had sellers during like the high season, Christmas, suddenly they got a complaint. The listing is removed and it says copyright. You don't even know what the sentence is. So, obviously when we looked at it, we compared it and we said, oh, there's a sentence here that you copied from someone. So we understood that this is the problem. We removed it, we appealed, and then they got reinstated. But it's, you can be surprised. Amazon doesn't tell you. So the bottom line here, what you need to do is do not use anyone's sentences. Do not use anyone's text or photos or graphic design. Okay. Amy, if I chose this, this tiger there, okay, my supplier told me, you can sell those paper plates because I designed them and, go ahead and sell them. And then turns out the supplier didn't design them. The person who designed it was his previous client. This client can file a complaint and remove all my products within a second without a registration, because I used his graphic design. So as a seller, and that's a super, super common mistake. As a seller, just don't use anyone's graphic design. You want to have a tiger, just take someone from Fiverr or whatever, design for you another tiger. Take the same idea, but not the exact same design that they had. Don't trust anybody who tells you it's theirs. Just do your own. It's really cheap, and then you become, you're not violating any copyrights. On the contrary, you're owner of copyrights. Okay, so if you have, just what we were discussing, if you design your own tiger, you own copyrights. If I take a photo from my iPhone now of you, these are my copyrights. I took a photo, it's mine, okay? Without a registration, without anything. A registration, by the way, is possible in the US. You need it if you want to file a lawsuit. If you want to file a lawsuit, you need a registration. But to file a complaint on Amazon, you don't need any registration. So that's what we have. And it, by the way, it's very, very, very common. Many sellers get suspended for just using this, I don't know, this dog. I saw it on Google. I just took the dog, and it was on something else. It was on a paper plate, and I put it on my scarf. No, you took that graphic design. It's there. The fact that it's on Google doesn't mean that it's free. So just design your own. You like these dogs, then get someone design it for you.
Yes, agreed. All right.
All right. So the next one would be about patents. Most private labels, as opposed to you, most private labels would sell something that already exists. Okay, they take a product that sells well on Amazon, they differentiate it. Sometimes they change the colors. Sometimes they try to improve something. But if you didn't change the shape of the product, then you may end up violating someone else's patent. Okay, so either a design patent, like you had this issue, or a utility patent of someone, and that's. I think that if I think of sellers selling since like 2016, 2017, ask 10 sellers, probably 9 of them would tell you at some point one of their product was infringing something, a patent. And that's because they don't check. So most sellers, choose a product, they change it a little, and then they go to market, and then they can end up getting a patent complaint. So the solution here, I guess, is to conduct a search. So if I want to sell this bottle that you see here, I can start, I can give it to a patent attorney and ask them to conduct a professional search. But if you're not going to do that, then at least run your own search. At least, try. When we have clients suspended for a design patent, they suddenly become the best searcher in the world. And then within a second, they find it and they say, oh, I know what I'm infringing. I'm infringing this. I found it now on Google. So, where were you?
Too late.
Exactly. So if you go to the next slide, I can try and show you just very quickly, how to run the do-it-yourself search, which is better than nothing, but really, really not enough. But at least don't do nothing, right? So if you go on Google and you type Google patent, then what you would see there is the database of Google for patents. So on the next slide, go to the next one. So on the next slide, this is already Google patent, and I type Camelback, okay, because that's the I want to copy Camelback's bottle. So once I type it, then I would see all the results. Go to the next one. I would see all the results of all the patents that they have. Okay, so these are the patents of Camelback, and then I can go one by one. And see if there's one that is similar to mine. And then on the next one, you would see here in this case, I found a patent that is actually, exactly the same as the bottle that I wanted to sell, which is here on the right. I found a patent covering exactly that. So I would not sell that. I cannot sell that, right? So if I want to sell the bottle, I need to change it. I need to change if there's a design patent that covers design patents cover the shape of the product. If I do a different shape, I'm not infringing anymore. Okay, that's for design patents, not utility patents. But for this particular one, let's say I found it, I could design a bottle that is, inspired by this one, but has a different shape. So going back to the advice, you're a private label, and I do realize it's not easy. I also realize that patent search can be expensive, especially at the beginning when it's just your first product or your second product. So at least run your own search. Go on Google Patent, as I said, and focus on the company that sells this product. If the bottle that I'm selling is based on the Camelback bottle, then search for all the patents of this company and look what they have and search for this particular shape. Okay, so that's because if the reason I'm suggesting to focus on a particular company is because if I typed on Google Patent bottles, I would get probably thousands of bottles, and like trying to find this particular shape is possibly it's impossible. So if your product is inspired by a certain company, focus on that company that makes it easier to get to specific results. And if you want to avoid all that, just go to a patent attorney.
Yes, exactly. Get a patent attorney. And I would also say, be careful, because what a great tip is searching for the company name, because they may also have a utility patent. And a utility patent protects the way that something is used. So you can't just make a different design in most cases and not be infringing, because it's still used. Most likely it's still used this way. So if these guys had a utility patent on this particular bottle, maybe the way that the straw was inserted in the bottle and, taking water out of a bottle through a straw in this kind of flip top lid, you can't just make the bottom of the bottle a different shape and not infringe on the patent. So again, if you're confused, get an attorney.
That's the problem. That's kind of the next topic. But the problem is that when you run your own search, if you follow design patents, at least it's easy. You have images, you can compare them. Amazon, by the way, knows how to enforce design patents. It's more difficult with the utility patents, because it's you get a full text of of claims, because you have one, and then the sellers do a search, they find something, it looks like something that is similar to but they're very they're confused, and then they go back to an attorney and say, hey, I found this, is this relevant to what I'm doing, is this not, I don't understand anything. I'm not a patent attorney. We have a patent attorney at the firm. I can tell you, I'm confused about, when I read the utility patents, sometimes whoa, what are they saying there? So the best thing is to hire someone. Many of them are not very expensive. If it's a product that you think will be worth it, then I would definitely run a search.
And I just wanted to take a minute to say hello to Gustavo and Anna. Gustavo asked, can you recommend services for trademarks of your brand? And I went ahead and sent Gustavo the ecommerce.com website there, and he's sent an email today for that. And then Anna says, hello, Anna, we love you. Thank you for being here. And Huma wants to know, how can we remove hijackers from our listing if we're not brand registered?
And go ahead.
Well, the thing about that, and I'm sure that you will correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing about that is you really don't have any protection unless it's a copyrighted design or something. You really don't have any legal protection if you're not brand registered. Amazon's mechanism for helping you be legally protected through their website is through brand registry. So if you've designed a product and you've copyrighted the design on that product or something like that, then of course you could do some kind of copyright infringement. But
remember what we said earlier. If they're on your listing, they're on your listing selling there, if you file a copyright complaint, you'll end up removing yourself, because a copyright complaint is against a certain listing, right? You file, you have only one choice. You have to put the listing there. If you put your own because they sit on yours, you'll end up removing your listing. that's the problem with hijackers. They're hijacking your listing. So even if you have, that's kind of the problem on Amazon. When you don't have a trademark, you're pretty much, I mean, you don't have much to do with a hijacker there. And I'll tell you even more than that. You can have the brand, today when we file a trademark, we can get you the brand registry within like 5-6 days, right? I mean, you'll have it, but your trademark isn't registered yet. You just started the process with the USPTO. You'll get it in like eight months. During that time, very often Amazon wouldn't enforce it because it's not registered. The trademark isn't real. You just filed it. So in those cases, you even have the brand registry, but since the trademark isn't fully registered, you may end up with no protection during that time. I gotta say, it's not that common because most sellers file the trademark, and then they push and they build the listing, and it takes some time for the hijackers to come, and they come when the listing is really good, right? I mean, when it sells well. So usually you would have almost a trademark, you almost finish the registration, or you're about to finish the registration. They usually don't come at the beginning of the beginning because it's like a worthless listing. They jump on those listings with high sales, which already have trademarks at that time.
Got it. All right. Well, shall we keep going?
Yeah. So that's kind of, you were talking about it earlier. What happened if you design something, and as I said, some have infringed and then they change it. Let's go back. Like if you had, for example, the Camelback bottle, and then you see there's a design patent, and then you change it, and you change this, you change that, and then you got an entire, a completely different bottle with a new design. You have a new design, file a design patent. Okay, you have 1 year to do it. The design patent covers the shape of the product, as I said. So you have, like, for example, what you have here on the right side of the slide, that's a client of the firm. They've registered like everything, and in particular design patents. So this particular shape is protected. If you have the eggs here, that's actually a carpet. That's something you can register as a design patent as well. So if you have a new design that you've invented, you can file a design patent. And if you have a graphic designs, as we explained earlier, graphic designs are actually protected by copyrights even without a registration. So like this horrible, I don't know, what is it? Yeah, these are stickers on the left, and then you have the butterfly. Not really pretty, but that's something that you could that is actually protected just by creating it. Okay, and then if you want to protect it because you want to be able to file a lawsuit against someone if they infringes, then you can file for a copyright. So these are the regular. Most sellers protect one of the three things: a trademark, a design patent, and copyrights. There's also utility patents, but most sellers won't do it. It costs more money, it takes more time, and Amazon takes time to actually enforce it. Have you ever enforced your utility patents?
I haven't had to yet, luckily, but it took like almost 3 years to get it approved. It took forever, and I had to file so many things. So now I always file a design and utility at the same time, because it's like, design's going to get approved within like 6 months, and then, you have some protection while you're patent pending, which basically means nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've learned the hard way, but luckily,
I advise sellers to go for design patents. The utility patents, the problem is that it's really expensive, and it takes it takes a lot of time to get completed. It's worth it when you have a very unique product. Like in your case, for example, you really designed an entire new idea. But if you just change it, tweaked a few things and just change an existing product, you want to get a utility patent anyway. So just file for design patent. You can even expedite it, and then you'll get it within like 6 months.
Get to the money making. I like it. All right, here we go. So, oh man, messing with reviews.
Yeah, so that's a situation that we actually had. A seller, the seller received like 9 bad reviews, and she understood that it was from her ex-boyfriend, who was also a seller, in the same category. She actually hired an investigator, and actually had proof that it was her ex-boyfriend, and she filed a complaint with the seller performance and sent him like a legal letter. The reviews were deleted, and what Amazon did is just remove him, like his entire account, permanently. So people think that Amazon is like maybe like a video games. Yeah, I can mess with my competitor's review. I can ask my cousin to file, to put a bad review on my competitors, and I can mess with your images or things like that. But it's completely illegal. And Amazon, when if your competitor finds out and shows it to Amazon, you'll be completely removed from Amazon and you can't return. So that's actually very serious. Amazon is not a video game. You can't mess with your competitor. Just focus on your own thing. And even if you got a bad review from another seller, never do it back to anyone. It never gets to anything good. Even we have sellers who are sometimes get threats from other competitors, or get and get into a fight. I'll remove you, and then you remove me, and then it goes back and forth. With some of the sellers, you just can't win. It doesn't matter that you legally, you've done the right thing legally, and that you're right and they shouldn't have done this or that. Eh, just getting into this fight, you'll just lose sales. Some sellers have no limits, no ethics, no laws, and for them it's just like a game. So my advice is, never mess with anyone else's review. It can get serious. It can get to court. It can get to worse than that. So I would never do it. And that's just an example. The guys just had a good business, and the business doesn't exist anymore. Amazon just shut it down.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's kind of these were kind of the main, the 5 main mistakes that we see all the time. Of course, there are always new ones. What we see lately I think in the last 3 months, in the last year generally, but especially in the last 3 months, is the review manipulation. We can have our next session focused on that. That's an entire topic. The bottom line,
yes, let's do that. That's so juicy. I love it.
Yeah, let's do an entire session on inserts.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm making notes. We need to do one on inserts. Yeah. We need to do one on review manipulation.
Yeah. It's all very much connected. I'll just give one tip tonight about inserts and about review manipulation. These days, any insert that asks for anything remotely looking like "please give me a good review" will not work. An insert should not talk about reviews. I would just not mention anything about reviews in an insert. An insert can send you to your website, for example. If you want to give a gift and you want to collect emails, then you can say, if you want, I don't know, 20% on your next purchase, if you want 50%, go to our website, subscribe, and then you collect the emails. But stop there. Don't ask for reviews after you give a gift. That's a common mistake. A lot of people just have, if you want a free gift, go to our website, and then you subscribe, you go to the website, and then once you get the gift, they ask you, okay, so now give a good review, now give a review. Do you want to give a review? Even that is a problem, because you incentivize them. You gave them a gift, and then you ask for a review. Don't do that.
Well, the thing is, like, my daughter bought me like this foot massager.
Yeah.
and for Christmas, and they had the free gift. They said they were giving away a shoulder massager. And I was like, that's a major gift to
Yeah.
just be giving away. So I went and claimed it. And I'm guessing that their old flow, because the flow looked kind of broken, I'm guessing
Yeah.
that the old flow used to ask for a review and the new one
Right.
just kind of stopped. They just kind of sent it to me. But
Yeah.
the thing was, they didn't have to even ask me. I felt so like indebted to them because they
Yeah,
gave
that
me
you
this
did it.
like free thing and they shipped it, no questions asked. Like, and a lot of times on the inserts, it leads to nothing. You
Right.
know, it's like there's no good customer service. So I was so blown away. I was happy to
You
leave a
gave a
5-star
review.
review because I'm like, wow, how cool of them. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize you don't even have to ask for a review. If
Right.
you're doing something great, like they're gonna feel like, wow, this person really took care of me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what many do. I can tell you that, as we deal with transactions and sale of the businesses, we had two cases where during the sale, the seller received a notice, hey, from Amazon, which says, we saw your inserts. We went to your website. You're manipulating the reviews. Don't do that. And what they had to do during the sale process is to take out all the inventory and then take out the inserts and put it back, and that kind of it almost killed the deal. So it's very important these days. If you have inserts, most people have okay inserts. They don't ask for reviews anymore. But most sellers understood it in the last year. But even if it sends to your website, as you said, just give whatever you wanted to give and stop there. If they'll be happy, they'll give a review just like you did, not only because you're a seller, but
Yes.
yeah, and you got their email. So next time you want to launch a product, you have their email, you can send them
And
whatever.
you also have to be careful about leading them to your website if you're selling them something there. Like
Yeah,
giving them a 20% off their next coupon for
right.
Amazon is one
Yeah,
thing, but also if you're trying to like lead them through your own funnel to sell your product at a discount on your website
that's
and
not.
steal
Yeah,
customers from Amazon, they definitely take
yeah,
that very seriously
yeah,
too. So
yeah,
it's okay. Like so many people are afraid to even lead them to their social media. It's like, it's
yeah,
okay. You can be
yeah,
a brand. You can provide good customer service. That's
yeah.
okay. The other day I was on a coaching call and my client said, well, I just don't even, we were creating a really awesome funnel for a great digital download. That's going to be great for her particular customer base. And she was like, yeah, but I just don't know about Amazon TOS. I'm like, you're giving the customer a free digital download that's valuable. You're not selling anything
Yeah,
to them. You're not stealing traffic from Amazon. You're just being an awesome brand. You're not even
exactly.
asking for a review. Like you're literally just giving them a free thing, and that's okay.
Yeah.
People are so terrified that, it's like, don't be afraid to be a brand. Just don't be one of those brands that's like, oh, you must give me a review or else.
Right,
Now,
and give me a screenshot of the review, and then I'll send you that's
yeah.
that's a few years ago. We could do anything. That we're not there anymore.
Now,
If you listen
real
to
quick
webinars
question.
from 3 years ago, we tell you it's fine. Today it's not.
Yeah, and really quick question about that, and then we're going to set up a whole nother webinar where we just
Yeah,
talk about this because it's so
yeah,
much fun. Um, if I put on my insert, like, we would love to hear from you, leave us a review with your feedback. Like,
yeah.
that's okay, right? Because I'm not asking for a good review. I'm not asking for a bad review. I'm
Yeah,
not even incentivizing the review or asking them to visit a website. I'm just
yeah.
saying
If
we
you
would love
read
to hear from you.
Right. If you read the terms of service, you're right. But we've seen Amazon mad about those, and the bottom line is every time there's something about reviews in the insert, Amazon kind of flags it. But
Okay.
if you read the terms of service, it doesn't say you cannot ask for reviews at all. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But then you
It just
have
says you
25
can't
things you cannot
appear.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't appear to be asking for a good so like this
Exactly.
insert of this client that we were looking at the other day, it just says something like, we would love to hear from you, absolutely leave us a review. It doesn't say good or bad review, and then it moves into like, oh, and by the way, we have this free digital download for you.
That's the problem. Then on the same insert, you have the word free and download, blah, 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 and you have a request for review. That's where you start having problems.
Ah, okay. Well,
It's very hard to ask for a review on an insert. It's becoming like practically impossible, because anything in their eyes, anything or where you give something and then you ask, doesn't matter how you ask, for them it's incentivizing.
Ah, okay. Yeah. And it doesn't, in this case, it doesn't link them. It doesn't say like, get your digital download. If it just says like at the top of the insert, like, we'd love to hear your feedback. It doesn't say good or bad.
At the bottom, you have a gift.
And then we say, if you'd like, we'd love to give you a gift. So, okay, I get it, because it still could inference. So I will follow up and let her know that that might be a no-no. So we'll just remove anything about it, and we'll just put the free gift.
Free gift without a review.
That's it. Yeah. Perfect. Well, this has been amazing. I know you and I can always talk about this stuff for hours, and I'm so grateful for your friendship and all the support you've given our clients over the years in this community. Thank you so much for taking your time today to teach us and be here. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for being around, for subscribing. We're so excited about our YouTube channel. It just keeps growing. It's awesome. We have so much more great content planned for you guys. And of course, we have to have Yael back on, because we have to talk about these other.
We will. Thanks for having me. You always have amazing content. I'm one of the subscribers on your YouTube channel, and I see it growing. And I listen to it in my car sometimes. So thanks for the good job you're doing for the community in general, not just your community, but for others. So thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll see you guys on next week. We've got Seller Roundtable coming up on Tuesday. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.